All right, we're live. Welcome to Cabbage Cafe, everyone. It's a great day.
It is, and we're recording the show today and not broadcasting live.
Hey, Bobby, though, you Uncle
Oh yeah.
Stoner, you gotta mute that when you
We
turn
do
on
this
the
on Medical Monday too.
torch. You gotta turn off the sound, big man.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was far enough away. Sorry about that.
Medical Mondays. We already had the issue on another show.
It's okay. Podcasting veterans still make innocent mistakes every once in a while. What a great show Jamie's arranged for Jazz Cabbage Cafe for today. We got a couple of our guests already joining us, and we just got live.
So, Uncle Stoner's going to kind of co-host with us today as long as you got time. And we're also going to talk to him about what's going on with the work he and wife Deb are doing with strains and going all over the place to do that and have some cool examples already. And of course, we have Danny Danko here, and we're going to talk about what's going on now with his new podcasts and magazine, The Leaf, Northeast Leaf.
Nice.
And then also, we capture some history here too. I know that Danny and Uncle Stoner go way back, so we can get
a lot of years, man.
We can get some broad history here. So yeah, instead of like getting right into, I was going to talk a little bit about some of the other stuff going on here in Michigan, but we're all here now and we're recording, so maybe we'll get to that a little bit later on in the show. Let's jump right into talking to Danny about what's going on and with the new Grow Yourself podcast and the magazine. And I keep on seeing the promos for the podcast, and what a great job you're doing, and great guests you're having on there, and great information you're providing.
Free weed with Danny Danko. Free weed. Yes.
Yeah, well, for years I did free weed, working at High Times from 2011 to 2018, and recently launched Grow Bud Yourself, which is independent, just myself and my co-producer, co-host Mike G, and we're 25 episodes in on that. And yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. We've been weekly, dropping every Thursday night / Friday morning, and we've had a bunch of great guests on there. It's mostly from a cultivation perspective, but we talk about the news of the day, and we've had a decent amount of like activists and people on the show to talk about what they do, and people from the industry, breeders, growers. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been good to have that. And then the magazine is Northeast Leaf, as you mentioned. So yeah, I have a weekly deadline and a monthly deadline now, which is nice. And that's keeping me busy. And the book has been selling really well too. I have this beginner's grow guide, and I think due to people being sort of stuck at home, a lot of people are buying this and getting started on their own home cultivation, which has really always been a big thing that I've always been pushing. So, I think, the idea is just you can get a tent and a light and a very small footprint and set up and actually provide yourself with cannabis that's cheaper and better than what you're likely to find at a store. So, especially now when, some stores aren't allowed to operate, and, maybe they only have curbside delivery or whatnot. So, I think people are just more interested in self-sufficiency.
First grows are oftentimes a little bit challenging, so sometimes it takes 2 or 3, harvests before you really get it right. And one of the things that your book does is encourage people that if they do have a couple of failures, they can still keep in the game and keep pushing upping their knowledge level to achieve better results. Isn't that true, Danny?
Yeah, 100%. I think anyone can grow, and I wrote the book so that anyone could pick it up and learn. And the same thing with the podcast. It's free. The magazine is free. The book's $15. So I really just wanted to make it like a really low entry level bar for people that want to pursue the hobby, because if you love cannabis like we all do, you want to have the highest quality. You don't want to be paying $70 an eighth for it, and you just you want to know what went into it, what the strain is, how it was grown, whether there was pesticides used, overfeeding, overwatering, all of it.
Now, here
And
on the, go ahead, Jamie.
no, I was gonna say, and it's great therapy for
Oh,
people.
100%. I mean, I think about medical patients, and they tell me all the time that growing your own, there's nothing better than growing your own medicine. And you know, you're creating it from light and seeds and soil and air and water. So it's modern day alchemy, and it's fun, you know, it's cathartic and healing. And you know, a lot of people I think are switching over to, you know, plant-based medicines and weaning themselves away from opiates and pharmaceuticals and alcohol and all the much more harmful things that are out there.
Excellent. Well, what that's certainly a great goal to have, and I think the entire industry is key to giving people alternatives, whether they're healthcare alternatives, whether they're recreational alternatives, whether they're just a new way to relax, you know, and you're not substituting anything. You're just enjoying. That's what our industry is about.
And of course,
Absolutely.
this activity doesn't, as some of the big money investors are concerned, this doesn't chunk away at the market at large. People who grow at home are still going to go into the stores sometimes to get different kinds of products and check out different things. It's not going to take that away.
They'll want to compare it to what they grew. You know, like they're gonna go to the stores and grab something that's supposed to be good, high end, and they're gonna take a look and compare it to what they grew, and hopefully get educated that way too. You know.
Yeah. It's one of the best ways to find the strains that you want to put in your own garden is to sample things that you got from other places, whether they're your buddy's house or whether they're the provisioning center down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the smartest ones are going to be the ones that will sell you clones and seeds and things and help you get started, because you know they can also participate in the home growing by, you know, helping you acquire, you know, lighting equipment, seeds, all of that. So I think you know, I think there's room for everyone and every type of system out there. You know, I'd rather purchase my cannabis from someone locally who grew it with care in a small batch kind of situation, maybe at a farmer's market or a co-op, like a food co-op, rather than, you know, an Apple store. Personally, that's me. But I think those places should exist, and people should have their options of where they want to go and where they want to spend their money and what type of product they want to buy.
One of the best reasons to advocate for a greater expansion of the industry is to give people more choices. If you only have two dispensaries in your town and you've had bad luck at both of those, what do? Now you're out of choices, right? You need to have a variety, and you need to have things that are user friendly, and places that don't treat you just like you're at Starbucks trying to fill a vanilla latte order, that you're an actual human being who might have, you know, internal issues that need to have some guidance. That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
No,
And
because
that,
there are some chain ones out there that unfortunately that do act like that. So there are some bad dispensaries out there that you're just a number and dollar to them, but there are really a lot more better ones out there that want to educate
well,
the
if you're
people.
looking to identify who's a good source of information, just Google Danny Danko, and
Oh,
you'll find exactly what his credits are, how long he's been doing it. He was the cultivation editor. He was a columnist for High Times. So many other accomplishments as well. That's a trusted source, right?
yeah.
That's a guy who doesn't have his hand in your pocket and isn't trying to get you to buy the strain of the week because they made a bad purchase and they get too much of it in the back room, so now they're trying to sell up on it. He's a guy who's trying to shoot you straight. So
Yeah, because he's seen this plant from all over the world, man. He started out in High Times mailroom to all the way and traveling all around the world and checking out all these different strains and stuff. I mean, he's an educated man and he knows what he needs to put in that book for people that are just starting out and to be able to understand, grasp it, and be able to grow their own. You know,
and he
that's
loves Michigan
that's all.
cannabis. Danny
Yeah.
loves
Yeah.
Michigan cannabis, so we know that.
I do. I do. I do love Michigan cannabis and concentrates and edibles. I proselytize all over the world about you know, places that people may not think of as, you know, hotbeds of cannabis activity, but and Michigan's on the top of that list.
Tell people how they can catch up on the podcast. You got 25 episodes. If they want to listen to some of those earlier ones and then listen to the recent ones as they're broadcast, how could they find them?
Yeah, it's growbudyourself.com. We have all the old free weed episodes too. I think there's 103 of those, some of which, you know, we had Dr. Lester Grinspoon and Subcool and people who've since passed away. So, you know, there's some great episodes there that are, you know, hopefully a part of our cannabis history. And so, yeah, growbudyourself.com. And it's also on every platform, iTunes, podcasts, Stitcher, anywhere that people listen to the audio shows on their phone. Hopefully it's there. It should be. But growbudyourself.com has links to all those places. So whether you're on Apple or, whatever it is, you can check it out. And yeah, it's usually typically about an hour. Like I said, cultivation focused. We have the strain of the fortnight every 2 weeks. We do this strain and grow information, interviews, and it's fun. It's fun, and we're always looking for sponsors and contributors and people to be on the show, and it's a blast. I like doing it.
What about Chong was on recently, right?
Tommy Chong, yeah, he was on episode 24. Yeah, we had Tommy on to talk about like what's been going on for him during COVID and his cannabis use into his 80s, and yeah, very interesting interview there as well.
Yeah, we're expecting his branded line of products in Michigan very soon.
Right. Yeah. He Chong's Choice, and then he and Cheech are talking about opening some dispensaries in California branded with the Cheech and Chong kind of branding as like a place to hang out as well. And yeah, Cheech actually interrupted the interview.
Oh shit!
Stopped by Tommy's house while I was there, so that was pretty funny too.
No, that would have been great.
Very cool.
Yeah, we got it on. It's on the show, so.
I'll definitely have to watch that. Of course, he also has some bongs. He's just got done doing limited edition bongs with Jerome Baker.
With JBD, Jerome Baker Designs, and yeah, that looks amazing too.
Yeah, we were talking about those earlier. They're selling them for like $5,000, and the money goes to the something prisoner project.
We believe Last Prisoner Project.
Yeah, they're cool. They're real cool looking.
I have one of his old school ones, the ones before he got busted. I have one of his bongs with his little Millie in it, and then we met up here in Michigan at the Ash Bash, and he signed it for me and all that. So it was pretty cool to get have him sign the old school original, which I got over in Amsterdam at the very first High Times Cup I ever went to when I met Danny actually back in the day.
Yeah, Bobby was a Amsterdam local, who was there, and knew all the players in the industry, which was, a pretty small world at the time. We're talking about, the late 90s, early 2000s. There was probably only 20 seed companies in town, and, maybe out of 300 or so coffee shops, maybe 25 that were really worth visiting and had high quality products. So yeah, Bobby was the guy man on the ground. He had long dreadlocks, Uncle Stoner.
Adam Brook, he was living under a bridge someplace.
Yeah, I know Adam. A few people thought I was homeless, I think, for a while. Just the way I looked.
Well, you were living at a hostel, so kind of homeless.
Yeah. Well, but by choice. I mean, I had plenty of money. I just enjoyed the hostel life because what better way to also meet people from all over the world?
Yeah,
no,
we've all done some couch surfing, and I highly recommend it to everyone to just couch surf around for a while and see different places. And I got lucky that I had a job that would send me around to all these places, but the education you get from travel and just kicking it at friends' houses that are locals is worth everything. It really makes life way more interesting and makes your understanding of the world greater, and plus you get to smoke all the weed from all those places.
I know, if you think of how many different strains we have smoked all over the world together, all the different places we wind up seeing each other and stuff, and it's a great community, and it's hard right now not be able to be with our fellow friends and family. It's rough times right now. I miss the old days.
Yeah, for sure. I just went to the first event. It was up in Maine, an outdoor event called Community Bonfire, and it was just so amazing after 8 months of pretty much solitude to go and see people and hand out free magazines and just just share. So much of what makes cannabis special is sharing cannabis, and that's all changed a bit with how things are going. But I think we'll adapt and we'll find new ways to socially consume, and that's just how it's going to be, I guess.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit more about the Northeast Leaf.
Yeah, so High Times basically, they moved to the West Coast, and after COVID, I was basically furloughed for a while and not working. So I started back up the podcast, changed the name to Grow Bud Yourself, and then I met these guys from Northwest Leaf. So they've been doing this for 10 years in the Pacific Northwest in Washington, out of Seattle. And then they've expanded over the years to Oregon Leaf, Alaska Leaf, Maryland Leaf, and California Leaf. So there's, this Leaf Nation of families of magazines. And, we sort of pitched each other on the idea of something for the Northeast. And we didn't know if we were going to land on, New York or the tri-state area or New England or what it was. And then I just said, why differentiate? There's 8 states that are all rapidly changing as we speak, and they're all in the Northeast. So why not just call it Northeast Leaf and cover all the states? Massachusetts being fully rec, Maine being fully rec, Vermont just having voted for it, New Jersey voting for it in 2 weeks. If New Jersey goes, New York and Connecticut are sure to follow. And now you have, 6 out of the 8 states fully rec in the Northeast, and Pennsylvania is going to go. And so all these changes are happening very rapidly, even with COVID and everything else. So we wanted to be one of the voices for the region and really help educate people as to what's really going on in all these different states and how quickly those changes are happening. And also with an emphasis on social equity and making sure we learn from the mistakes of other states that have gone legal, and what the pitfalls are, where you end up with just 2 dispensaries in a large county, and it's all very white male owned and operated. And it just there's so many reasons why it felt like a good idea. And I love the model of it as well, because it's a free magazine. So you charge the advertisers to reach the people, but you give it to the people for free. So there's no pay to play in here. We cover what we want to cover. We are completely allowed to basically cover whatever we want in the Northeast region when it comes to cannabis, hemp, CBD, and everything else. And that includes, the multi-state operators and all the different changes that are happening. And I love that it's huge. Like it's a big, substantial,
Oversized
I like that.
newsprint.
Hey,
It's referred
do you
to.
I like
remember?
that cover there, Danny. I like that
Danny,
cover.
Oh yeah, this is our first issue. It's a beautiful cover. We're actually selling limited edition prints of it as well.
Very
And then,
phallic. Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, do you remember Interview magazine?
It's a bong.
I saw, but phallic was more funny than bong-like. Yes.
Yeah.
Dong-like, bong-like, either way.
So second issue is here.
Sarah.
And Sarah Steenuff, and we put an emphasis in this issue on the changes that are happening with hemp in the Northeast. So, we have kind of themed issues coming out, and we just send it out to all the different dispensaries. People can pick it up for free at their local head shop or dispensary. And I just love the fact that we don't have to, put any cover lines on there to draw you in, and there's no sales tactic. It's just, hey, check it out, it's free, and hopefully you'll learn something and enjoy it.
And you're not selling the cover to the highest bidder either, right? Yes.
No, there's no pay to play. There's no, if we do a product review, we're honest. We're not going to review something we don't like. We're just going to do recommendations and things like that. But there's no way to get us to, review your product unless we like it. So it's really, it feels great, to have that type of autonomy and to be back into where I grew up, my home in the New England area, and I live in New York City, and I just always felt like the area needed a bigger voice.
Seems like there's a lot of transparency in this. That's great. I like how no one can pay to play in this magazine. It's good.
I feel like there's too much of that going on already, and people are losing their trust in what information is out there, and so even if it might hurt us, at the end of the day, I think, trust is the most important thing. And if you're putting something out there for the community, you want the community to trust you implicitly. And so, that's the case for us. We're just interested in being a voice of the cannabis community and the industry. I mean, we cover dispensaries. We have bud tender of the month. We have, we're not shying away from all of what makes the community, which includes the industry, which includes multi-state operators, and includes, even the lawmakers that are standing in our way or helping us down the road.
So, it kind of reminds me of the look and approach to Interview magazine, which came out of Andy Warhol's factory in New York City.
Great magazine. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, the idea is we just want people to, enjoy it and, allow us to be the voice of the region. And it's monthly, so it's crazy. It's crazy to be back on, a monthly and a weekly schedule after a couple months of just, isolation. But what's cool is these guys are expanding even at a time when many other magazines are ceasing to print at all. I mean, our print is our emphasis, then, website and social media and all that stuff. But the magazine itself is really our flagship. And that's exciting to be back in that, and to be working with people who are part of the community. And, we're not beholden to any kind of corporate meddling or any weird, Wall Street stuff. It's just it's like working for a free weekly or monthly magazine. It's great.
Speaking of print media, I know that mainstream media seems to be croaking. Specialty media like you're offering is on the rise. What about the demise of High Times magazine? I know you may not want to get into it too much, but from an observer's perspective, as a guy who used to write for the magazine occasionally, I'm kind of saddened to see this whole thing just sort of dissolving and fizzling into dust.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very thankful for a lot of great years that I had over there. Obviously that's what put me on the map. That's where I learned everything I know. Like Bobby said, I started off breaking down boxes and answering the phone and stuff like that. And I really, the brand for me was everything at a time when there was not a lot of cannabis brands at all. You could count them on one hand. So it was a dream of mine, and my dream came true, and all dreams come to an end as well. And, I wish them well. I didn't agree with many of the decisions that were made in the last couple of years, as far as, printing and the importance of the magazine itself as the flagship and things like that. But, I don't own the magazine, so I'm not the decider on that. So, I just think, I cherish the friendships that I made with so many incredible people working there, the travel that I was able to do and see places that I never would have had an opportunity to be, the ability to write every month and to do, YouTube videos and all the things. It's my entire career. And it's a place, I really ultimately, I wanted to retire there, after, 40 years or whatever. So, I had to pivot and change into something different. But I'm really excited about the future as well. So I can't really dwell too much on that. There's aspects of it that sadden me as well. As far as, the ownership situation. There's great people over there doing the work and everything. But I do think that that emphasis on corporate structure and going public and selling cannabis now and on things like that. Those were all just things that weren't a priority to me and didn't seem like they should be. But that, when you own the magazine, you do what you want. So that's for them and that's their mission. And I'm on a different mission now with Northeast Leaf and Grow Bud Yourself, and just teaching people how to grow and what the situation is out there for the community, the industry, and everyone else. I mean, yeah. So
remind us about your book too. I know it's been out for a couple of years, but that's still very relevant.
Yeah, the book is here as well, a copy, but it's Cannabis, Beginner's Guide to Growing Marijuana really meant to be just entry level for anyone who wants to get started. And it's been doing great on Amazon, and I sell it on eBay. If you want it signed, you can buy it from me on eBay, and just mention that you want it signed in the notes, and I'll mail it out to you. Yeah, I mean, that's, to me, the bottom line is the plant. I want to give back to the plant what the plant has given to me, which is a career, a life, the ability to feed my family and all these things, and it would all boil down to just committing to the plant. And so I'm still on that mission, and I continue to just basically just try to promote the idea is, if you replace those things we talked about earlier, the opioids, alcohol, nicotine, even sugar, things like that in your life, with cannabis, you will lengthen your life, you will add years to your life, and those years will be more enjoyable, and you'll be healthier through those years if you do that. And I learned that from Jack Herer, and that's something I want to pass down to the younger generations, so that they will pass it down and continue to preach that, because I've seen too many people go down the wrong road. We've all lost friends and family to those bad choices. And I think if we provide the alternative, this healing plant medicine, and for me that also includes certain psychedelics, and all these different ways that we can improve our lives with these long misunderstood substances. I just think that that's really the only way to heal the world, and improve our soil. If anybody watched Kiss the Ground or Kiss the Soil recently, our friend Woody Harrelson narrates an incredible movie on Netflix about basically saving the world by sequestering carbon into soil. And just all we have to do is just improve our soil, and we can actually save the world. And I think that, along with fungi perfecti and the work of Paul Stamets in the ways of how mushrooms and mycelial strands are healing and also nourishing, and how they can also work in conjunction with plant roots to create.
Hey, Danny, are you familiar what just went down in Ann Arbor not too long ago?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that places like Oakland and Ann Arbor, where people are actually voting these ethnogen out of criminality, is a huge step in the right direction for and also being able to study this. I mean, you have maps out there doing great research, but still being held back by government regulations and red tape and all these things. And we're talking about saving lives. We're talking about saving marriages. We're talking about keeping people from committing suicide, keeping people from being addicts and ruining themselves, and destroying their bodies with poisons. So to me, that's tantamount to murder when you're standing in the way of that type of research. And so I just think, the sooner the better, and yesterday's already too late.
So yeah, we need to get the big pharmacies out of the pictures. But the biggest thing is the big pharmacies, they know all these natural all these plants and mushrooms, whatnot, are out there that can naturally heal us and help our body. But they want to make that almighty dollar, and that's the problem is right now. But we're slowly pushing them out, and we're starting to get laws changed. It's great. Things are happening.
So I just want to point out that Jim Salame and Colin MacDougall on with us right now were key members of the Decriminalized Nature effort in Ann Arbor.
Amazing. Thank you
for your work. We love them.
That is awesome, and very appreciated. And those are the type of changes that ripple throughout eternity, beyond our lives. And that's the legacy that we, that's the important thing, is that we all, everybody will die at one point, but the message of these plants and the medicinal and healing properties that they have has to be passed down. And what's great is we have the internet and social media. There's a lot of bad things about it, but the great thing is that this information can't be stifled the way it used to be, and that happened with marijuana and it's cannabis, and it's going to happen with all the beneficial psychedelics out there as well.
You know, a
We
lot of the
discussed
things we're
that.
considering advancements are really just rediscovery of things that people in simpler times already knew to be true.
Exactly.
The crazy thing is that this has only been really a post World War II kind of thing that's happened. Industrial farming, all of these things, they don't go back that far. They go back like in our lifetimes and our parents' lifetimes is when all these things happened. And cannabis was a medicine before 1933 or 37 or whatever it was, and the soil fed itself. I mean, farmers used natural fertilizers because there was no such thing as synthetic fertilizer. There was no such thing as factory farming. And so, and we're literally talking about 1945, post-war. Everybody comes back, the soldiers come back to the US, everybody moves to the suburbs. You have to have a way to feed them. And so let's create this monocultural, crazy thing and hopefully improve on it. But no, well, they ended up just, getting more and more petrochemicals involved, and you end up just killing the soil and killing people ultimately with the products that arise from that type of thing, because now you're spraying pesticides all over everything. And you're right, it's not that old and it's not that hard for us to reverse it. And I think that's what that documentary kind of makes clear, and what we make clear as peaceful warriors for this healing flower and these healing fungi and substances.
One of the things that's true, uh, we're not going to be able to cure our addiction to plastic. That's what our society is addicted to, is plastic. But what we can do is create plastic from natural sources that will be sustaining and biodegradable. We can't necessarily change our society to that degree, but we can change the things we feed our society. And that takes leadership and it takes organization. And I think we're at the infancy of that. In our lifetimes, we saw something that many of us may not have believed, and that's statewide legalization and probably national legalization coming up. Maybe it's not so wrong to think that within our lifetime, maybe we will see completely natural products and a better way of thinking about our environment. Maybe we will.
We had Greg Pulowski on recently, who is a city planner in Detroit. He's also been a cannabis advocate and activist. And he had a discussion with the mayor, who he says was open to hearing about using hemp for remediation purposes around some of the contaminated areas in the city.
Yeah, I mean, hemp and mushroom bedding is used to renew the logging roads and stuff that cause mudslides. In just a couple of years, they can put mushroom bedding on those roads and reduce the amount of mudslides by a large percentage.
That's
because
fascinating.
it becomes like a sponge. It just soaks in a lot of the moisture, and instead of the logging road being basically
Just
like
sluicing off.
a highway of mud, it actually is able to soak up that moisture and contribute to the forest and bring back that the mycelial strands that are underneath our feet. These are the biggest organisms on earth, and single cellular strands that can travel for miles under the ground. And the first relationship really on earth is between plant roots and fungal strands. The first two species that met, and when life began. So
Hey, to that point, over the weekend, I watched through Dennis McKenna's McKenna Academy that's opening up in Lima, Peru, an entire weekend of permaculture videos, and how that needs to be added to the community layout now, and really help communities incorporate permacultures to help the cities, to help the environment. And I mean, it's way overdue.
Which is meaning using indigenous plants and species to
and just having a living soil, and not tilling the soil, but just adding organic material, and allowing the worms to do the digging, and you create you don't have to keep feeding the soil, because it's like the word perma means that there's kind of permanent culture happening. It's feeding itself.
Self-sustaining biology within the earth itself, which is what we've stripped away by adding all of the different things that were specifically designed to do things like kill bugs or kill other plants. And we've accidentally or intentionally killed microbes and all the other things that make soil living. And now a lot of farmland is just essentially wet sand that they have to add a whole bunch of stuff to in order to grow stuff on that particular plot.
It's an inert medium that just simply holds roots. And so you just have to feed it, constantly feed it synthetic plant nutrients, constantly cover those plants with pesticides because they have no way of defending themselves because they're so weak. And that's the corn and the soybeans and all the stuff that's subsidized and being grown just by the millions and millions of acres. But is that DMAC that I see?
Yes, sir.
Four-time Stanley Cup winner and cannabis hero.
How's everybody out there? That was
him.
interesting. Good to see everybody. Happy to be here. Obviously, here to promote Saturday, right, Jamie? I'll let you.
That's correct. Hey, you're right on. You're exactly on time, man.
Don't tell anybody you'll ruin my rep, bro.
I think there were some surprise faces on this call when Jamie said that. So yes, you're right.
Thank you. Yeah, we're kind of wrapping here with Danny Danko, and Danny, I know you have an appointment coming up here in a few minutes. That's why we kind of arranged the time for you to come on when you did.
Yeah, no worries. It's been an honor to be on here, and really interesting talking with you guys and catching up with Bobby and DMAC as well.
Yeah, good to see you, Danny.
Yeah, you too.
Well, hang out as long as you can, man. There's
I got at least another 10 minutes or so. So yeah, let's chill. I feel like I've been talking the whole time, so I'm gonna let you guys speak.
Feel free to chime in if you'd like, man. You're a co-host at this moment now. So yeah, we do. So Darren's on, and it is in conjunction with us celebrating being open for a year up in East Tawas, Northeast Michigan, a small store, and it's been going very well. Several months ago, a couple days before the lockdown of the COVID scenario, we were all up there with Darren and arranged to have him to do the production of the slapstick comedy tour at the hotel there. They had a nice setup arranged for it, and we raised some money for the Youth Hockey League. And we were going to get back up there again just a few weeks later and hand off the money to the organizers of that league. But then the COVID stuff happened, so this is the first time we're going to be able to get back there. This is it's going to be a small event. It's just an appearance kind of a thing, and we're set up for it so we can keep proper spacing and masks and everything like that. But we're going to recognize that during this trip, plus celebrate the fact that we've been open for a year, and all this month we've had a lot of cool stuff going on for that. And this, leading up into Halloween, to have this appearance with Darren is just part of the great month that we're having. So really looking forward to that. And of course, he's been awesome about this stuff for a long time now. As you said, he's a hero of cannabis. He's earned a lot of attention, and people up there love him. Of course, hockey's a huge thing up there too, so that helps out a little bit.
Well, it's like I tell everybody, I'm a battery. The people are my power, and wherever I can go, and I look around. I was seeing who's on here. You guys are all that important. Hi, Deb. I haven't seen you in a while, and
yeah,
see you, darling. But this is not only, I think it's great to acknowledge points in the journey where everybody's been. It's an accomplishment for you guys celebrating a year, but I think it's just something, we continued, we talked about it last night on Medical Mondays with Berg and Roach, and just about how the community and the it's not the what, it's the who. So, Rick, you brought up a lot of great points about, the legal battles and the, caregiver programs and stuff that needs to come to light that, that I'm definitely, this plant saved my life. So, anytime I can go out and honor it with other people that feel the same way, that's what it's all about. Just get the truth out. So couldn't be happier.
And if you want to
Hey,
check out that Medical Mondays broadcast, it's available on YouTube. Go ahead, Bobby. I didn't mean to
I
interrupt.
gotta say, I mean, I saw him maybe a month or so ago. And each time I see him, he keeps on looking younger and younger. From when I first met him a few years ago to now, oh my God, he's looking younger each time I see you, Darren. Must be
There
I
you
that
know,
go.
bro.
cannabis, man.
It's a testament to the plant. You know,
Uh-huh.
it's all I tell everybody is that please, I am never high. I'm always fully medicated. I'm never high. All right. So
Fully.
it's this
Always
plant,
fully medicated.
but
Always
it's through the
fully.
education and everybody else. So I hope, I got the Benjamin Button disease, bro. You just told me Uncle Stoner said it. It's got to be true.
He's gonna be playing again in a few years.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that'd be
Here we go.
Yeah.
Play for Stevie
Don't
Y,
even-
man. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, don't puck with
Could
Darren
you
McCarty.
imagine,
Don't
bro?
puck with Darren McCarty.
Don't fuck with it. Don't fuck with it, man.
Don't
Don't
fuck with him.
Puck.
No,
fuck.
don't puck with me.
That's it. That's a new phrase. Don't puck with me.
Okay.
Good one.
No, Darren. So you're going to be up there at the Botanical Company in Tawas for these events, right?
Yeah, I'm on Saturday. I think probably between 3 and 5, but we'll probably making our way. I'm just coming from Traverse City. I'm going up there early, so we'll probably be there earlier than that, depending on what it is. But yeah, spending a few hours and hanging out, and then it's a great opportunity, and I think the one thing that not only did I what I learned, but it's like, your time is precious through this COVID and stuff like that. So it's who you spend your time with and the knowledge that you can learn. So when I'm around Jamie or you, Rick, or you, Debra, and, most of the people on here, I'm learning something that I can pass along. So, I look forward to it. It's like, it's like when you're a kid and you're going to camp. It's like to go to see your friends at camp and always learning something. So I look forward to it Saturday, and I know Aaron's gonna be with me, so he's looking forward to it too.
I was just gonna ask. I was hoping that Aaron's gonna be there.
I
He's
love
coming in
Aaron.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, surround yourself with good people, and you have a good life.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Mhm.
It's taken me a while there, Rick, but finally figuring it out. It's I'm getting
Yeah.
younger. I got Uncle Stoner saying I'm younger. Things are happening. It's
But
all
you know
good.
what? Sometimes some people never get it. So,
right,
they don't. So you figured it out. There you go.
Well, let's hope that more athletes and people who have been through the stuff that Darren's been through realize that this is a way out of addiction to pills and alcohol and all that, because those are poisons and they kill you. They slowly kill you or they quickly kill you, but they kill you. And cannabis heals you. And Darren's a testament to that. I mean, and yet there's still that stigma. And when he gets around other athletes, he'll tell you, there's still coaches out there and people that, will look down on him for being a cannabis user, and they'll be drinking and popping pills and smoking cigarettes and all of it. And it's insanity, especially once they see the fact that, here's the man telling you that it saved his life.
It's
They
hard to
tease
know
him
from
about
great
it
people.
about
Hard to
broadcasts, though.
Go ahead, Deb. What?
I was just gonna say they tease him about it on broadcast. It's not a hidden thing. I
Right.
watch Darren sometimes when he's doing commentary, and they'll be like, "Yeah, blah blah blah," and it's hilarious. I'll be laughing my
always.
ass off.
Yeah, it's definitely changing. I mean,
It's
that's for
changed.
sure.
It's more open, more free.
It's
they
starting
know.
to.
And when kids that are growing up now, in a world where cannabis has been deemed essential, they're certainly going to not have those
Yeah.
attitudes and stigmas the same way, but we thought that about the boomers, and look what happened.
But you know what? It's sort of different. It's sort of you can blast the millennials for anything, but what they've given us is transparency and allowed for the truth,
Yeah.
and so many different things come out, because it's not about right or wrong. It's just got to be, it's got to be the truth. There's the whole thing with social media. Back to your point. This was always supposed. Marijuana is the gateway drug. No, it's not. It's the exit strategy, boys.
Yeah.
And look at me, because that's exactly what it is. And it comes down to get educated and get medicated. And I think that, to your point, is that what Deb said is, when everybody knows because I don't hide it. And I think it's the
Right.
comfortability for guys to be educated. And you know, the big thing is, like, through my education, is to get them on the CBD and to understand that. So it's slowly coming, but it's almost like, you know, it's funny because now it's almost like people, when they don't know what an endocannabinoid system is, you can make them feel stupid. And, you know, it's changing. It's slowly. And I think that's the point. It's like Jamie's, the Botanical Company's 1 year. I think these points on the journey, they're like train station stops, as we say, okay, we've come this far. You know, it's all this stuff, and there's more work to do, but hey, it's coming a little bit, and slowly but surely, and hopefully quicker as necessary. But again, it goes back to, again, what Rick said. It's about the people, right? And the right people setting the right way to do it. So and it's all the ones that we remember, because if you don't keep the history going and bringing up the John Sinclairs and bringing up, you know, who the Danny Dankos and who are the guys that, you know, coming on, and like, if somebody came on and listened to the podcast, if I said, hey bro, I'm gonna do the Jazz Cabbage Cafe podcast, they said, what is that? I go, oh, it's my weed friends or whatever. And they listened, and the first thing they're talking about soil and dirt and about refracting, you know what I mean? The misnomer of the care for nature and the whole community and environment is where you can get people. And I think the benefit for us, which I mean the medical cannabis people, is jumping on the hemp plastic people, you know. So like I had a conversation with Isaiah Thomas, who's with One World Hemp or whatever, the largest one, but it's because of the plastics, right? So they're going after the plastic. He doesn't care about, you know, he cares on making the environment better and using hemp instead of plastic. Well, I'm like, okay, we have an ally there, you know, to understand that there's more to this plant than just getting high. And there's more to this plant than just, you know, everything else. And there's more to the people that fully medicate. It's the education and the care for the soil. So I think it's just getting it out there and just having these conversations. And I think in today's day and age, 2020, the end of October, coming up to an election after COVID, you know what I mean? It's just like, okay, people are willing to finally like start listening a little bit more to things that they didn't in the past.
I think we need to make America McCarty again. That's what we need to do. Let's go for
But
that.
you know what, bro? Rick,
That's
here's
a
the
hat.
problem. I got
Andy's
all the
Canadian.
because I'm Canadian.
You can't.
That's not a problem.
I don't even
Not a
count.
problem.
We'll never tell. We'll never say anything.
You're like G.I. Joe. You're a real American hero.
I'm can American. Remember that. I'm not Canadian.
Danny, you
I'm
wanted to jump in?
American.
Yeah, I gotta head out. I got a meeting, but thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure, and
Good to see you, Danny.
keep up the great work, everyone. And let's free the flowers and the fungus and everything else, and you know, vote as early and as often as you can.
It's great to have you on, man. We'll definitely be checking in a little while and get some updates from you. And,
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
Love you, Danny.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye, man.
Good luck with the podcast and the publication.
Take care. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a good guy. You know, and Darren, you're saying all the stuff, it's about the people. It truly is. But what leads the people? And that's our icons. Those are celebrities who have a voice loud enough to be able to reach a ton of people with the proper message. Now, we have some people that don't always give the proper message, and they treat cannabis like it's just an instrument for their own personal success. But then there are others, like yourself, who are really trying to improve the plant and improve people's understanding of it. So
But it's just, you know, it's like anything else, right, Rick? It's like when you turn on TV, you don't have 2, 4, 7, 9, 50, 20 anymore. You got anything you want to watch, any streaming channel.
I remember that. I remember all of that. Those are
Right?
Detroit
Yeah, I
radio
grew up
stations we had to change.
I grew up
Channel
30,
9,
right?
Hockey Night in Canada.
Yeah,
Yep.
baby. Don Cherry in the suits.
That's why I'm can American, because I grew up on that, you know, all the
Yeah.
same stuff, the same TV, the same. But it's about choice. So it's educating people and always saying the why. What you know, the Darren McCarty brand or Grind Time with Darren McCarty or at the real Darren, whatever Darren McCarty is all about the truth, right? Enjoy my truth. And it has my truth has to do with this plant. And it's not about whether you use it or you don't use it. It's just to know you have the option. I was told now I know the truth. I have a responsibility. It's my responsibility what I do with it. Well, I got to make sure no one's lied to the way that I was, because I don't think they would be able to survive. So there's, like I said, there's exit strategies. But again, you got to understand is that, what is the motivation for different things? Is it to have the highest THC and just, do you care about it? Is it just releasing that, or is there a thought behind it? What we're releasing, we got pre-rolls out right now in some of the dispensaries. The problem is that the supply chain, you know what I mean? So waiting on a bunch of stuff, but I'm real excited because my CBD roll-on's coming out at Thanksgiving. And not only is that because it's e-commerce and because the CBD is, directed by the FDA and stuff, it gives you more parameters to educate on this plant. So I think to everybody, the conversation starts through the CBD. It's like if you have a Darren McCarty brand pre-roll, there is more than usually 1% of CBD in there. They're usually ratioed 5-1, 3-1, 2-1, because I believe in my journey that it's the conversation of CBD and to actually smoke something, to being a heavy smoker, to smoke something that has a heavy effect to it CBD wise, to be able to notice it, that's a big deal.
Yeah. So the roll-on is a special topical applicator.
Absolutely. It's a CBD, and it's a vanilla Madagascar, the Madagascar vanilla, which is the most one of the most expensive vanillas, but it's because of the scent and everything that is important behind it and the effect. So it's something I'm really proud of. Out of, for right now, it'll be something that I'm proud because it starts the conversation. And to your point, Rick, it tells people why, what I'm all about, or why I'm all about it, as opposed to put them on stuff.
In further support of your testimony here, you have landed a show on a long time established terrestrial radio station. And when that all came together, part of that whole package was you bringing your perspective of cannabis with you.
Oh, absolutely. I tell everybody, just like I was saying about taking the time to realize it's not as bad as you think. Guys, we're in Michigan. Cannabis is legal. Gambling's legal. And I have a WJR show on Friday, AM 760. Yeah, that big Republic, the top of the Fisher building. Yeah, they let me sit in, Mitch doesn't go in studio. So if they're not there, I'll sit in his chair. I mean, it's pretty friggin' sweet. But the fact is that it's called the Darren McCarty Show, or the Enforcer Show, or whatever. I do it with my friend, Mr. WJR, Sean Belegian, who everybody knows. And it's pretty much me bringing, my sports takes, but also too, Jamie, you've been on there for Hash Bash and stuff like this. I talk about the brand, I talk about, life. And one of the things is, it's, people got to understand the way that I'm wired is that it's not that I want to always do the things that other people don't want to do. But the thing is, what drives me is I would rather do it than have somebody else do it. Right. So a lot of that motivation is to lead the way, and to, like John Sinclair, our good friend, like that he's a great example, is that people need to understand that story, and history is the big reason, so we don't repeat it again. And I just want to make sure that in Michigan, especially, that as far as the cannabis front, whichever way it goes in a positive direction for the people that I surround myself with.
That's wise advice.
Yeah, I commend you, Darren, for keeping the medical aspect to cannabis still thriving with your incorporation of CBD and THC together and ratio formats for people, because that's really going to keep people talking about the medical side of it when you use those two cannabinoids. So good for you. And I also give you much respect for your reciprocity back to the plant for all it's done for you. That's what we always have to remember, and the ancestors that helped us, even John Sinclair, to get where we are.
100%, right? So it's one of these things that, like I say, it's like it used to be whack-a-mole, where the grower would, or the user lift their head and they look around, but then they have to put their head back down real quick. Well, now the moles are out of the holes, and now we can get together. So it's finding the right ones with the same intentions as you. I always say, if this is for anybody out there, okay, I am not telling you what to do, but I am pleading and begging with you that if I'm not doing it, do not do it near me. I'm here for, what do you mean by that, all day long, and I'm not here to argue. Keep that in mind, and we will all get along, and there will be no repercussions. So it's all good.
Repercussions from Darren McCarty means a little bit more than repercussions from other people.
Well, I would think so, Rick. You can Google me. You can Google me and think, like I said, and it's not because it's like your parents, like your dad. Oh man, I hate to do this, but I'm doing this for your benefit, right? So it's not because I want to; it's because I have to.
Yep. Just trying to help us learn.
I would pay to see
Knock
that.
some sense.
Hey, so are you broadcasting from?
Yeah, but I
Traverse
do
City?
it for free for you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Are
Let's
you
do it. What
broadcasting
time? Where are we going to see this? Let's go set this up.
Anyways, Jamie.
Are you broadcasting from Traverse City this week? You said you're coming from there to go.
No, I'm actually gonna broadcast there. Go up there Friday night. Be there in the morning. I got a farm out there, so I got to go check the outdoor.
What time is your broadcast on WJR?
7 to 8 o'clock on Friday nights.
Well, leaving for Traverse City from Detroit at 8 o'clock, that's quite an ambitious drive, big man.
You got to do, I don't have the helicopter money yet. So next time it'll be helicopter money, or if anybody wants to sponsor me, you just got to do what you got to do. That's
Nice.
why I got Aaron.
Nice. Yeah, you can sleep in the back and he drives.
No, he sleeps and I drive. But don't get it twisted. It just sounds good. When I say, well, dude, no, we're driving. Aaron's with me, and they don't understand that we do trips, 24-hour trips to Florida, and he drives 2 of the 22 hours. It's irrelevant. He's got other responsibilities.
Yep, I understand.
Is either sleeping or rolling joints while blindfolded?
Well, you know what? It depends on there's a whole other conversation when we get back to face at the cups and the different gatherings like at Clio, where you can have conversations on, why it's not so bad to drive up to Traverse City on a Friday night at 8 o'clock. Thank goodness the weather's not nice up there, Rick. It should be okay.
Yeah, well, if you've got a farm you're visiting, that's a beautiful thing to go do. I was at a 4,000 plant farm over in Chesaning not that long ago, and when you're surrounded by cannabis plants, there's just zen. There's just a feeling of freedom. I think, at least I experienced that. I'd chase it.
100%. Everybody, so the Darren McCarty brand is producing Pinconic by Pincana, who are the Radical Genetics guys, and when I go into those hoop houses, and I have pictures standing there, it's that I meditate in the middle of that for like 5 minutes, and it's just the most pure. And to see plants so happy, so thriving. So now you have the genetics, the growers, the environment, right? It's an amazing thing to see how some of this cannabis plant can be produced and how it's so different, right? It's so different. Right, here's 5 seeds there, Jack and the Beanstalk, right? Like, I mean, it's like so crazy, and I think that's such the beauty of having a relationship with the plant.
We had
now you can grow your own. right? So now that people who want to get involved can understand that they can technically produce their own medicine. The biggest thing that through the COVID is all my friends and whatever got magic butter makers and learned how to make butter. You know what I mean? For edibles and stuff like that. So people they're getting into it and stuff like that. That's how more so the introduction to people for me is not through the flower, it's through the edible. So that's why it's most important telling me who, not what.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a bigger percentage of people nowadays that use cannabis actually use edibles or take edibles instead of smoking or dabbing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So edibles now or topicals or tinctures are kind of where it's at nowadays, I think, with a lot as far as medication wise and going that way.
We had Tony on not that long ago, Tony Shanaquet, and they grow hemp. And this year's hemp crop, they had 18-foot tall plants. You can imagine how much pride you must feel when you started something from just a small little deal, and then in a single season, it's literally they cut down 18-foot long plants. So how would that make you feel as a human being? More in touch with the earth, more in touch with the concept, the pride that you get from that plant. No government agent can ever take that away from you. No change in the rules can ever suck that memory from your mind. You've done something that is meaningful and impactful to yourself and to the community. I mean, there's no greater personal reward as far as I'm concerned. So.
Oh yeah. Working with your plants, being able to grow your own medication or create your own strain from plants that you like. It's where it's at. It's a very zen thing to me.
Uncle Stoner, we talked about you over in Amsterdam, but we didn't talk about is you in Jamaica, and you've been in some serious outdoor gardens in the motherland down there, haven't you?
Oh yes, they are really stepping it up nowadays. It's not like the old school days back there when they just took a handful, threw it out in the field, and whatever came up, they harvested. You know, they didn't care if it was male, female, whatever. Nowadays, they are taking time to sit there and actually, pick out the best females and males and stuff. And me and my wife ourselves now, we're doing a lot of breeding over there because we're finding these unique land races that they've developed that are really nice, and crossing them with some stuff exotic stuff that we've either gotten from Amsterdam or here in the U.S. From like Crockett seeds. We did a Caribbean strawberry that started out as strawberry fields. That's the base plant with it is strawberry fields from Crockett, and then we found a nice purple Jamaican tangy high up on the mountain there by this guy that lives in a hut. They're right by the ocean, but a great grower, amazing grower. And we took that purple tangy, and then we found a nice sour diesel and crossed it there. But we're enjoying Jamaica and the atmosphere there and how the laws have changed now. Because back in the day, Jamaicans were persecuted for smoking cannabis. They were beat, they were put in prison. Now lives were threatened. Now it has changed where they can, now they can grow it freely over there and everything. And anybody that comes over there can smoke it too, as long as they have a script from anywhere in the world, or they see a nurse there and it's like $10. So a lot of things have changed. And I can't hear you. Oh, there, now I can.
You've got a history with the Marley family too, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, back in the day, I think it was 2001, I used to go to a lot of events and stuff, concerts, and I met the Marley family in California. And then the first time I stepped foot in Jamaica in 2001, I went to the Marley family there, kicked it with some of them, and actually started my dreadlocks at the Marley house there at Sugar Hill. They set me down as I'm looking at that door, three little birds upon my doorstep that Bob Marley sings about. I'm looking at that, and they put beeswax and braids in my hair and start braiding. And that from there is where, as Danny saw when we met in Jamaica, in Amsterdam, on my dreadlocks. So I actually started them at Bob Marley's house there in Jamaica, which was, really special to me.
That's awesome.
That's so dope.
Great story. Good story.
But beautiful people there in Jamaica. They have great heart. It's a rough country for them, for Jamaicans. It's, and I think cannabis is a way it's going to be able to help them out and help the quality of life get better for them. As long as the politicians don't try and take over too much and put their hands in there and stuff, there could be a lot of great things and a lot of development in Jamaica because of cannabis, and there's a lot of companies wanting to come over there and stuff because cannabis grows uniquely over there in Jamaica. The soil, the atmosphere, all that stuff, the equator, it all comes into fact when you're growing there, and you can have some amazing strains be over there.
There's a big international market for cannabis, not just hemp as there has been in the past, but now for cannabis. And Germany's importing it, and Great Britain's importing it, and some research facilities are also importing it too. I mean, Pinconning is just right across Lake Huron from Darren's hometown in Canada. There, I mean, we could probably catapult some stuff over there if we needed to. But
I like the way you're thinking, Rick, and you know what? That's the exactly in the perfect world where this turns more internationally as it's intended to be. But I think it's these conversations again, that things are happening, that there's growth beyond that. There is going to be options if it's done properly, right? If it's done properly, like anything else. So hopefully we, as I say, all of us who care, can help it get right this time, instead of all the BS and everything else. I think that, now's the time it's the strongest because people are educated, can find their education, seeing's believing, people like me got the Benjamin Button through this plant, so be it.
Nice.
So it's all good.
Well, they're talking about in Mexico, they're going to pass legalization on a national level, which means that Canada and Mexico would be legalization hotspots, and America would still not even have medical on a national basis. So I think just like when Colorado and Washington State became legalized and everybody else got pushed into that at that point, I think it's about time America got pushed a little bit. The conversations like the one we're having right now are pushing the dialogue forward, and movements like MI Legalize and the MRTMA that also move the needle too. But we can't get our foot off the gas, man. We got to treat this like it's the Indianapolis 500 and just keep going pedal to the metal, and until we get where everybody else is already. Our people should already have freedoms. We shouldn't have to still fuck with this. It is what it is.
We're gonna be. I was gonna say we're gonna be far behind Mexico if we don't do anything. Because Mexico, they're starting to say they make it legal over there too, and they're great growers there. We've done some squash shops over in Mexico, and I've seen what they can grow over there, and it's some nice stuff. So if we don't follow suit or go, Mexico's gonna be one of the one of the big places for cannabis.
Wasn't there a certain point in which the underground market, so to speak, from Mexico upped its game due to the increasing quality that was becoming available more and more in the United States and California?
They couldn't sell the dirt weed in California anymore because the cannabis growers had made it a market that just had more of a taste for the good stuff.
Yeah, no more of that pressed weed with all them seeds in it. Takes hours just to get one joint. Remember that? I'm sure all you guys
sometimes dipped in diesel fuel. Yeah,
and bugs. That'd be like a big beetle
pile of stems in your ashtray. Yes, exactly. I know.
A beetle shell, always a big bug.
Grasshopper leg. Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, good old days.
Extra protein.
Rocks, little rocks.
Yep.
I missed out on those days, boys and girls.
Man, you don't get all the seeds out.
Directly into the quality shit.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that have done that too. When they've started smoking now. Jim Salame, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of people have started consuming cannabis at a time when the quality level is so high that they really don't have a perspective about what things are. Right?
No way, man. Yeah, everything you had back then looked like it came on the bottom of your shoe. And it would always be great to have a white paper plate because it could really move those seeds down and out of the way. Like
the old frisbee. Remember the frisbee? You used to take the frisbee and shake it for the seed to fall
and your
down.
driver's license.
Like you were panning for gold.
Like you're panning for gold.
Yeah, Darren, you missed all that. Missed all that, D-Mac.
The album cover.
That's why Raw made that frisbee. That's a tray to shake it. That's
right.
Raw made that frisbee tray so you can shake it. It's for OGs.
You spin it, and the beans go out to the outer ridge.
But even then, though, with all this, and we're going so far advanced, some people are, some of these strains and some of the names and where they're going with it. Some people need to slow down. I believe we need to go back to these land races, these original old school land races, because there's so many different names and so many different crosses out there and stuff. There, I miss some of the old school, back in the day.
We had a lawyer on the show who predicted a lot of fights in courts over rights to certain genetics and things like that coming up.
Oh, I believe so.
You see with the cookies brand, you see that there's already a lot of branding going on for particular strains and things like that. Darren's got a couple of unique strains for the McCarty line that he has with Pincana, so I know that's special too. But right now we don't have specific DNA sequences attached to patents. So almost anybody can say they've got Gorilla Glue. And oftentimes the concern amongst consumers is that their retail outlet is changing names because something didn't sell very well, so they're just swap-a-rooney.
Well, at least with our Caribbean strawberry, we actually took it to the lab in Jamaica that they had there, and we had it genotyped. This guy from America, and he's a scientist and stuff. So I do have it genotyped, from the seeds, from the flower, all that. I had to give it all to him, all that. So at least for the original Caribbean strawberry, I got that. We have that genotype. So,
that's excellent. That's how you protect yourself nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought a couple of years ago that you would have to genotype your cannabis? But really, fucking A, do it. Otherwise, someone will steal it from you.
Yep.
Crazy world we live in. The things that become important, right? I mean,
I'm just doing it because I love the plant and I know it's a good medication. I'm not trying to make any money off it. And these people that do want to make money off it, they're the ones that sit there and try and steal it and say, "Oh, I created it," or this. Yeah, that's what you have to love.
Protecting the genetic identity of different strains is important because at some point we're going to need to be able to differentiate between what really is Gorilla Glue number 4 and who knows, Gorilla Glue number 3, what the fuck. But the fact is we're only going to be able to do that through genetic typing, and it'll be so easy to do that it would be ridiculous for us not to do it. I mean, we're getting to that point now where we can do DNA smears on almost any living entity. So that's the future.
And culture samples, all that stuff nowadays,
Right. You have a tissue culture on file someplace where it's kept in cold storage. So if ever there needs to be resolution of a claim against that particular patented name, you can always go back to it and blah, 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 like a James Bond story sometimes, this cannabis industry. But again, the people who can adapt to that and who can work within the existing and the evolving framework, those are the ones that are successful. And I think all of us are fluid enough and smart enough to be able to roll with the punches like that. Maybe there are some people who just can't.
Well, I don't know. Hey, I've lasted over 18 years in this cannabis space so far. So I'm either lucky or doing something right.
Well, they weren't even squashing back in.
I know. I wasn't even doing squash off then,
Let's talk about that in a second. What do you got, Darren?
It's the willingness, right? It's the willingness to do the tough job, right? It's a willingness to know that you're more alone forging through for other people to run behind, right? That, that's just the way it is, but it's knowing that it's, the right or the wrong, and it's willing to do that and stay around and stay relevant because you have to adapt. I use the analogy that sit back and look at it from going from across the street with binoculars, looking at the farm table, wondering what they're eating, game they're playing after dinner, to now you're sitting at the table playing the game after dinner. Oh, I'm sorry, you want to play Clue, but they're playing Monopoly, right? Play that game, because after a while you play the game their way, they're going to look to you and go, well, what do you want to play? And then there it is. That's when you have, right? It's resilience and patience, and that's the people in this business that I have the most respect for, which are all of you. But the people, Pincana and stuff like that, are the ones that have been through it. So it's just like you said, knowing what you're fighting for, and for whatever reason, Uncle Stoner, because of his love of the plant, doing his part, the DNA genetics, that's we're all doing our part, and the willingness for us to do it. That's all.
Well, that's good advice from a 4-time Stanley Cup winning person, a leader in multiple fields. It's good advice for people to listen to.
And how many trips to the Stanley Cup total?
You wait till I got you 6. Lost 2, 1-4, lost 2, but I can't wait to see. I'll be like, speed up the Stanley Cups, get to the cannabis cups. Let's go. We're the only athlete
Yeah.
with the Stanley Cup and a cannabis cup.
Uh-huh.
I told the
Squash
fellas
off.
we gotta be working for it.
Nice.
One begets the other.
Well, I'll tell you what. There's a lot of people that barely manage success in one industry, and to be able to master two, good for you, for sure.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the friendship and the wisdom that has you guys have given me, and like that's the part of it, which leads to again why I'll be up there hanging out celebrating a year at the Botanical Company in Taos, East Taos.
Wow.
Jamie,
That's gonna be cool. Yeah. So yeah, that's good. I'm really looking forward to that. We were going to get on the squash house for a second. So before I lose sight of that, a little background on how that got going. And obviously it's had to be kind of put on the shelf for a little bit. And then what the plans are for getting it back up and running.
and explain what squashing is to our video watchers who may not be familiar.
Well, first of all, squashing is, of course, the term I coined because usually they call it pressing or something like that. But squashing or squash off is taking either cannabis flower, CBD flower, or THC flower, or hash, or CBD hash, and putting it under heat and pressure, and squashing it until the natural rosin, natural cannabinoids, and oil, and all that THC comes out of it into a rosin form. So that is what squashing is. Squash off itself is a live, interactive, transparent, educational competition. As I said, I've been around for a long time over in Amsterdam, all of them. I've been a judge of a lot of different events and cups. And one thing I realized is, everybody gets to hear who won, but they don't understand why it won, what went into it, what made that cannabis or that product, what made it better. And so I decided to create a competition that was that way, where you got to learn and got to see expert judges, people that have had many years, like Danny Danko, I've had as a judge many times. Eddie Lepp, Soma Seeds from Soma, Frenchie Canola, Mila the Hash Queen, Adam Brook, Mr. Hash Bash. I've gotten to get all these friends that I've met throughout my years in the community and bring them all together at these various squash off events around the world, where the audience could ask the judges questions all the way through the competition, from where we first present the bud and we put it under a microscope and project it onto a TV screen where the audience can see and the judges can see. And as they critique it, the audience can listen and ask them questions on, well, why do you think it's not good? Or why is it important that all the heads are there? Why, so it's all interactive and giving back and letting people understand what makes cannabis good. Because of this growth in this industry, there is a lot of people out there, they're just doing it for money. They're not doing it for the right reason, for the human race, and for the mind, the body, and the soul. And I want to be able to get back. And this competition lets you see what goes into quality hash or quality cannabis, from putting it under a microscope, from smelling and rating the terpene profile, to actually right there in front of everybody, putting there and pressing it right there in front of them and watching that rosin come out. Then being able to smell it and see it and rejudge it again on taste and effect. And it's all neat because you get to see it from plant, from a bud all the way down till it's till it's squashed into a rosin, And it's a fun time, especially being able to get together for people all over the world, and that all have the same passion about this plant. It's a good time.
Is there a difference in quality based on if you squash Keith as opposed to a bud?
Oh yeah. Of course, Keith or hash, you're always going to get a higher quality of a better rosin, because Keith and stuff, it's more just the heads. If you notice, a lot of it, especially if it's good Keith, it's just going to be the heads, the best of it. It's not to be the stems and stuff, because stems, that just has minute traces of THC in the cannabinoids.
You're referring to trichomes and trichome heads and trichome stems. You're using terminology you might be confusing.
Sorry, trichome heads. Sorry, somebody keep turning in.
I got you. I know what you're talking about. Just helping the viewers. It's cool.
All right. Yeah, so the trichome heads, Okay, now you made me lose where I was going. Chain of thought there.
Although I thought squashing heads might be a pretty good idea considering all the political ads I've been watching on TV lately, but
Yeah,
it's another
yeah,
story.
yeah. So
Um,
yeah, and same with the hash, because when you make hash or Keith, you're just trying to get the trichome heads, the best of the best. And so yeah, you're gonna have a higher quality, and you'll learn from it, even if like with flour, hash, or Keith, even if it's the same strain, it could you can put two strains together, but by a different grower from a different location, different elevation, everything from the media, everything that they use or how they grow it comes in play when you squash it, because you can put the same strains up together squashing, and the consistency and everything can totally be different from that, from it being the same strain. It's and it just shows you on how you treat how what you feed it and how you treat it and everything in your plant, because it comes out in that final process of rosin.
Have you ever taken a look at the difference between top buds and bottom buds on a plant to see what the squashing is different on those?
No, not really. I mean, we have squashed. No, I mean, to be honest with you, I couldn't. No, not really. I mean, yeah, of course, obviously, you are going to get more rosin and the quality. I think you're going to get more rosin and stuff because there are going to be a lot more heads and a top bud.
Bottom buds get a lot of bad press, and I'm just wondering
Yeah,
if,
I
if
mean,
you had
you
had
do. I mean,
experience
I
of
have
figured that out.
squashed bottom buds, and we've gotten great results from it too. There's been times when we've just squashed the bottom buds or lofty buds. As long as it's all about the trichomes, though. But,
What does
it
the
doesn't-
what does the future look like for the squash off then? Because I know it's been down due to the COVID scenario.
Well, we got Mexico. They want us to do one in Mexico in September of next year. We have, of course, the hash bash. If it takes place in April, we'll be doing the squash there. We're projected to do one in Oklahoma, Amsterdam. So I mean, there's all these places that want us to come and do it. And I've already had sponsors like Advanced Nutrients and them guys and a few other places reach out to me saying, "Hey, what's your schedule next year? We want to sponsor." Because they enjoy it. They like all our sponsors are like it, but it just depends on where this virus and where it's going to go from here, how we're going to be able to interact with people, if we're going to be able to have more than one, more than 20 people. But we're also looking at a game plan of maybe doing a virtual one where we do have maybe 4 or 5 judges that have taken COVID tests that isolate, and we press it there and we do it like a Zoom or a YouTube virtual, squash off with the judges there, and just without the audience being there in person, they'll be on video watching it.
So many things do that now, so that would make sense.
Yeah, it's the new normal almost right now. So yeah, I mean, I personally want to get out there and be able to travel again and see and meet new people, and be able to experience it, especially when they realize I learned something new, and you can see that in their eyes, and the way they smile when they're like, "Oh, wow, I didn't know that." Experience that newness of somebody when they first discover something about cannabis they didn't know, and
Plus, the dabbing is amazing.
Oh yeah, dabbing. I mean, you can't get any fresher from fresh, nice rosin. Beautiful fresh rosin. And I'm learning from pressing and stuff that you don't have to cure the flower as long when you press it. I've learned now that for anywhere from 8 to 12 days, all the way up to 20, but mostly 8 to 10 days, especially if you do it right and you handle the flower right and everything. The result of the rosin is going to be way better when it's 8 to 10 days cured.
Deb, did you want to jump in on that?
No, I'm just listening. Why? Because I turned my mic on. I'm just listening. I love that because, basically I cure about 30 days on my flower, on my smokable flower. So
you try and press it like maybe I said 8 to 12 days or 20 days in that there. You'll be surprised, especially the 8 to the 12 day. You'll see a lot of difference. You'll get a better yield, the color, even because the cannabinoids change even in while you're sitting there curing it.
Yeah.
Different, it changes. There's different things that happen in this plant that, as I said, we still need to study, but it does happen, and it different cycles of the plant's life itself.
There's stuff available at all stages. There's something that can be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When we juice cannabis, oftentimes, Jamie, what is it, 3rd week of flower? Before really you even get a whole lot of trichome formation. The 3rd week of flower is really when they say is best to juice, Jay.
So Dr. Courtney says it was best to juice, and we've done it many times because it happens to be a time in which a lot of people take off a lot of the bigger leaves anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And those juice those. It's very good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All stages.
Yep, tried it at different times and with male plants and stuff like that. And the juice is always good in some way. It contains something that's beneficial.
Yeah, you're receiving something by raw juicing that you're not receiving when we do cannabis smoking or cannabis vaporizing, because that volatilizes it and releases that carboxyl. When you juice, there's no heat involved, so all of the natural components as they originally appear in the plant end up in your biology, and it just means it's good stuff.
Yeah, a lot of THCA, not that it's a big deal, but I smoke all day long, and I don't really ever get so incredibly high that I got to stop smoking. I do get high, obviously, but if I drink a little bit of the juice, I got to put the joint down halfway through the joint. It's like I call it high school stony. Whatever the combination of all those things are in my system, man, I get ridiculously.
D-Mac, so when you go up to Traverse City this weekend, ask him about some third weekend flower and see what you can obtain as far as some fan leaves and stuff, and get yourself a juicer. Give it a shot.
That's such a great idea. I mean, I have
cold press juicer.
I'm all ahead of you. I just got to get the juicer because I have the fan leaves from different things and the ones I cleaned up too. But yeah, I love that raw juice. It's so good. But anybody out there, I don't know about you, but Jamie just said high school high with the raw juice kicker putting the joint down. As you can see, him and I probably have the same. We're always fully medicated. There's sometimes during the day you go, oh, okay, but wow, that sounds like a lot of fun.
The THC tank is constantly full. Right.
So get a cold press juicer, something that would work with wheatgrass. That's what you need, not like a regular centrifugal one, because it'll burn the motor out. So
you can hop on Amazon, I'm sure, and get one. Have it on your doorstep tomorrow, Darren.
Get yourself a big old one with gut. A Stanley Cup winning kind of a juicer,
And then put it through strainers a few times.
Stanley Cup juicer.
So good, so good. Cut it with a little bit of fruit juice or something like that. It only takes a little bit. It's kind of like edgy by itself, but you put a little bit of mango juice.
With a little cocaine. It's great.
Or something like that in there, like mango.
Those are the old days.
Yeah.
Add the fruit, or else it'll be really green. It'll taste really
bitter.
I think I'm gonna do that when I get over to Jamaica with some of my fan leaves. Is mix it in with some mangoes, some fresh mangoes, and blend it up and everything.
You will not be sorry.
You can definitely do that.
Yeah, like a smoothie. Oh man, that would be
fresh
delicious.
Fresh mangoes, fresh bananas.
Grind a little coconut.
And might as well throw a scoop of ice cream in there.
Whoa.
I mean,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. All right.
Fantastic. I like all that,
including
all that shit and more. Right.
Turn your raw cannabis juice into a smoothie. Sure.
Yeah.
Go for it.
You know what? We're gonna do that.
Another way to utilize our beautiful, wonderful plant. We talked about hemp. We talked about how it could save the world. We talked with Danny about different things. Talking with D-Mac and Uncle Stoner about different experiences and different things that we can possibly expand on to help all humanity, not just ourselves make money, but to help all humanity.
What a happy day.
It's been a pretty good show. I got to say, I'm smiling the whole time.
It was good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. This was a good time. Good time.
Well, I'll save some of the Michigan politics stuff for our next show.
Don't end on a downer.
Don't harsh Carmelo. No, come on.
Jim would have to change his background. It wouldn't be so peaceful like mountains. It would be like conflict and war.
Oh my God, it looks so lovely, Jim. I'm telling you.
I know.
I will say though, think about voting. I know I recently had a conversation with Uncle Stoner, and before he heads back to Jamaica, he's planning on swinging through Illinois, where he is registered to vote and voting before leaving.
Yeah, no, it's important. I think as more time than any, this is one of the most important elections of our time, our generation, the new generation, everybody's. I mean, a lot of things can happen in the 4 years and who we select in this president in the next 4 years on who we select as this presidency. And I'm I just hope people make the right choice.
There are many people around the globe that don't have the opportunity to choose, or their vote is completely meaningless, like when you vote for a national leader in Russia. Putin just continues to stay. There are a lot of places that don't have some of the privileges and freedoms that we have, and the only reason we have them is because of the people. And we exercise our voice only so seldom. They only ask us about it every 2 years, every 4 years. They don't really care in the meantime. You have to make sure that this time around they listen.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it. I wish I didn't feel that way, but I do. On a national level, it's very difficult to reach your congressional representatives unless you're actually in Washington, D.C. It's difficult to make an impact, whereas in state and local places, you can actually go and talk to people. But on a federal level, it seems like they're really detached from what we do and how we live on a daily.
Yeah, it takes a long time for them to catch up. So Darren, any besides coming to see us in the radio shows and coming to see us at the Botanical Company East Tawas on Saturday?
Well, check out at Real Darren McCarty on Instagram and Facebook. That's sort of we've generally, and as you'll see that too, because for example, if you just go on the Facebook and you hit the link, you can, go to the website or the Grind Time podcast, or there's a Michigan cannabis community that was created on there. And there's also the Metro Detroit golfers for all the golf fans and stuff. So I got my team's getting their stuff together, and I've just going to filter that through. You can also check out all the cannabis now, keeping it separate at the Darren McCarty brand. So that's on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that too. But this week, actually going to probably play the last round of golf tomorrow for the summer then probably going to play Joey Kosher. So usually we play a few times during the summer. So I'll let him go out there and whip my ass for a minute. That's what I'm doing. I'm always doing things for other people.
Gonna go do some whack-a-fuck so you can.
Why? You know why they call it fuck, right? Or you know why they call it golf? Because fuck was already taken. That's pretty fucking.
Because golf was already taken.
I might be a little high, Jamie.
That's all right. Hey, so you said there's some supply issues right now for your product, which is the case in the industry at large. So that is the way it is. But is it available anywhere?
Yeah, there's if you're up in Kalkaska, Pecana, Kalkaska, the Green Genie in that 6 Mile Telegraph, whatever, Livonia-ish area. They have it. I know the Reef has it. Breeze Recreational in Hazel Park, they carry some of them. So I know I was up there last week. We got everything fully operational now. I would expect, like I said, the CBD roll-ons coming out on Thanksgiving, but the pre-rolls will be mass produced. I know that when I was up there, Uncle Stoner mentioned the sour diesel and stuff. So there was a great strain of sour diesel that I wanted to get into the pre-roll too. So
are you personally licking it?
Am I personally?
Are you personally licking each pre-roll?
You know what? Only the ones coming to you, Deb, just to make sure that they're number one. They're all sealed.
People would pay extra for that. People would pay extra for that. I'm just gonna say.
Darren McCarty DNA.
You know what? You're lucky Aaron's not on this call, because he'd be off to the side and already he'd be like, "What me going?" Oh, and I'd be saying, "Oh, I guess we already sold that. I guess I'm doing that there, Deb." Forgot to tell me. That's why he's not here right now.
Hilarious.
Okay.
Class.
But yeah, it's just a matter of time. It's just we were talking about it before, but the way they took the legs out of the caregiver program and supply, and which is garbage. But so again, it's just part of playing by their rules. You got to do it by their rules, their way. Everybody's got a story. Everybody will continue to have stories. It's just sort of like life. It's like life. It's just it happens. So it's just how are we going to deal with it? I know that with this plant, I mean, some days it's good, some days it's better, but with this plant, they're all tolerable. They're all tolerable. I can figure out a way through my education is what mood I need to be in, or if I need to grab the RSO and go night night.
Well
Right?
said.
So there's options, and that's where the conversation starts. And it's just, the one thing that I realize is that time's the most valuable thing. And if I'm going to put time into you, then you're going to have to work as hard as I do. I'm not the hardest worker now. It's if I see that effort, you see that with the people I surround myself with, is that, there's there's certain expectations, and it's, you got to remember, I'm of a championship caliber quality that we all are going to watch the man, Steve Eiserman and Drapes and all the same guys put the culture back into the team, but we all grew up with each other living through it. Now, just because, I don't want to hang out at the rink, I'd rather hang out in the greenhouses, right? So it's like we can all figure out how to way to get along. That's the beauty of it. And everybody's happy for everybody else. And I can honestly say the beauty that where I'm at is because I have the utmost love and support of the Red Wings organization, and from Mrs. Illich, on down, because of, like you said, like Uncle Stoner said it, I'm, Benjamin Button. I'm looking better every time, and it's through this plant. So my wife wants me to gain weight, but it was so hard to get it off.
Is Mrs. Illich, for example, somebody who recognizes that cannabis was a part of your
recovery and stuff like that is when it's one of those things that I think to realize is that as owners, they were people and they worked their way. So the fact that they were human beings, you know what I mean? And just because they had billions and they owned teams and stuff, they never lost that. They had, family, and the big families have issues too and stuff. So they never lost fact. You always felt part of the external family, as I mentioned it a lot, is I felt like was always treated like another kid, so to speak, that you honestly, like, that's the whole, I don't know, the beauty of everything that we've all been through, right? Good, bad, everything else, is that the ones that are still here are still here. And we all talk all the time, group text that's really, not right and stuff like that. So that's the important thing. And that's the culture that is important. I don't hide, from anything. And I think the fact that the laws have made it a lot easier for me to stand and for them to accept it. So it's going to bridge the gap, more to speak. But there was always an understanding, to answer your question, Jamie.
Nice. It's good to hear.
Sometimes we don't know if they're the William Fords are real people. Yeah.
Right. It's important to know, because that's sort of the feeling that, like, if we're talking sports or whatever, like, you don't get the touch with reality, the Lions ownership. You don't feel that they feel like they run it like an automobile industry, or you feel like there's just a sort of a disconnect between the fans and them, where with the Red Wings, that's different. It's the players and the organization. It feels like it's ours, right? It's just as much the people. Yeah. So it's great. It's very important that, and I always say, enjoy my truth. So I call it like I see it. And, when you look back, it's like family, and we're, different parts. You weren't happy with this, you weren't happy with that, but there was always this love that you were cared for. And for me to be here now is through, some of that. And because what's important is not only to be able to fight your demons, but to have support in fighting your demons when you're on the right path, right? The worst thing is when you're doing it alone. And that's the whole thing, is I want everybody to know you're not alone, and there are options, and there's great minds like everybody in this conversation that has definitely had an impact in my, recovery and my journey and my health, and will continue to be, because it's like when you find a good strain, right? When you find a good strain, you're never going to forget that strain. It may go out of rotation or whatever, but you're always sort of looking for it, right? You had me going last night because you were bragging on some UK cheese that you renamed it for the cheese guy, and I know that's, dude. I could smell it through the thing. I could smell it. Just
I
the way
was
you were just,
bragging
like,
it up too. Yeah.
teasing with it and
Was the
stuff.
brag, you know,
I could
that's
smell that.
that's my flour he's talking about.
Mhm.
So if
But-
you need
so I
some, you
know,
let
and-
me know.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
I think
hey!
you
Oh, you were saving it for.
did we not
There's
smoke
plenty
that
for
up at
all.
Towers?
Nobody has to hoard it, you know.
I was teased with the
Yeah,
cheese
up in
earlier
Towers.
today and then denied.
No, I misread the label.
I think it's hilarious.
You know, I saw the S and I thought it was a sharp, but it was actually a sour. So there's plenty of cheese.
I'm sure it was an innocent.
I'm in the middle of harvest right now, so you know, last harvest is just ready now.
Yeah.
It's
All right,
just
Darren,
cured to
you were in
perfection.
the middle of professing something, man. I apologize.
Yeah, go ahead. You were talking about my cheese, so go ahead.
I said, did we not smoke that cheese up
We
with
did.
Jamie? Yes,
Yes, we
okay.
did.
See, that's I could smell it. I
Yeah.
knew it.
Yep.
So you already knew. Yep.
Dude, I recognize. See, I didn't, but my endocannabinoid system did. It was trying to jump through that phone, and I was like, "Whoa, buddy, whoa, relax," because Rick was bragging on it.
Endocannabinoid memory. Now
Here.
that's fascinating.
He
That's
knows of what he speaks.
fascinating.
He's right. He's
I
right.
was
We did
showing
have it up
this.
in Towers. Mm-hmm.
Sharp
I
cheese.
grew this outdoor.
Wow.
Nothing like you
Impressive.
guys are saying. It's cherry pie. I've been taught well, and I only grow like a few, and I think I got like 6 ounces off of like 4 little plants and stuff. But
Nice.
like you said, it's mine.
It's yours. That's
It's mine.
it,
I'm gonna
you know?
bring some up to smoke on Saturday.
And when you grow it next summer,
I'm
you'll
bringing
get
some up
twice that.
Saturday.
Saturday, East
yeah,
Towers
but
at the
it's
Botanical
not- oh.
Company, and there will be some cherry pie grown
So
outdoors.
cherry pie will be
Darren McCarty
happening.
himself.
But you
D-Mac,
can't smoke at the Botanical
That's
Company,
wrong.
though. No.
Personally rolled and licked by D-Mac.
Specifically, Dom cherry
Whoa,
pie.
for $1.
$1.
Dollar
You have to
extra
pay
for
an
the joint to be
extra
licked.
$1?
Oh, all right. I thought the joint was $1. I thought, what a great deal,
No.
T-Mac. You're giving back to the people all of a sudden.
An extra
Tongue action
1,500
for
to
$1.
get his video
Still a
licking
good
it.
value. Still a good value to get tongue action for $1, man.
That's cheap
Listen,
as hell,
and then
man.
when I slobber all over it, and nobody wants it again, because everybody who smokes with me knows that you don't want to be after me. I tend to wet the joint. So that's
No,
that's
this
why
day
I
and
laugh
age brings with it
when-
everybody
when
using
I'm
their,
not-
having their
That's
own
why I
joint.
laugh in a circle when one of my guys gets to my left,
Yeah.
right? Because if we're smoking a while, then he got stuck. Because then I'll
Yeah.
laugh at him, and it's usually Aaron will never be there. You watch, Aaron will always be on my right.
No.
It's a notice, right? The newbie gets stuck in the middle, but sometimes you can't help it, and Aaron gets stuck on my left, and he'll try to reverse the flow by whatever way. But
Yeah, we
That's
know
his issue, not
that the
mine.
joint stops at Jamie, and he'll take it from both directions and hold both those joints. Nobody gets a hold
I'm
of
bringing
it.
in all inputs.
oh yeah, you have to take it all in, bro. You're all about Mr. Information, right? You're like, wait, I gotta see, and is this gonna cross? Your brain's always working.
Wow. That's giving him a lot of credit. Good Joe. Okay.
Well, I didn't say working on what, bro. I said it was working. We've seen the
It's always
hamster wheel
on.
spin.
Which is
Right?
actually
It's just-
going.
That's so funny.
Doesn't mean it's
No level
doing
of
anything.
functionality necessarily.
I love
There.
this show.
See?
Colin's been trying
Oh,
to say something for a while and he hasn't been able to get it out.
That's even funnier.
Colin's all reclined
Our,
back in
our
his-
viewers are going to rewind and go, did Colin get up at some point? No? All right.
Is there anything going on decriminalized nature, Colin, or anything else that you're involved in? That,
I think he may be in a decriminalized headspace right now. So
now he's always tripping. Now that he passed the laws, he's always consistently
he's in
tripping.
an Ann Arbor
Always
state of mind.
medicated.
Oh yeah, dude. Colin's still on the mushrooms from last night.
True, yeah.
Exactly.
Still up from
Same-
last night.
Different shirt, though, I think.
Same smile.
Yeah,
Same smile.
that's true. I love it.
Nothing really new. I don't know. I just haven't been saying anything. I've been listening this
Oh,
entire
there he
show.
is.
Sitting
Absorbing.
back, and I don't know.
Okay.
Like kind of stoned and laughing.
As long as you're comfortable and happy, Colin, that's all that really matters.
No, I'm happy. I'm happy.
Good.
Okay.
You know,
Wow.
Jim had a spiritual journey lately. He's spent a month preparing, and you know, we said that if we had an opportunity, we'd get a little overview of that. I know that's like something that it's hard to like, you don't describe it or try to offer up any, you know, expectations of these experiences or whatever, but give us an overview of what you're.
Well, I was lucky to participate in some ceremonies here in the United States for the first time with ayahuasca, and I took a lot of preparation as far as getting off of cannabis for a month. My body went through hell doing it, as far as my joints and aches and sleep, and but it was definitely worth it. It turned out I was with a group of about 30 some people, and yeah, it was completely different than going down to the jungle, but the same healing that you do. If anyone's familiar, you basically close your eyes and you go into realms that you need to go to freely and without resistance. And the things that you can do as far as healing yourself are, you know, like nothing I've ever experienced. And I'm still integrating that now, getting that back in, and you know, smoking a little bit more cannabis now, obviously.
You're still processing your experience, and it still creates more meaning as you kind of consider it.
Oh yes, exactly. And then, you know, getting back into cannabis and appreciating that plant again has helped that process too. So yeah, I mean, I can talk more about it next week, I bet, more than I can right now.
We'd love to hear about that because
Yeah,
we talk
that's
oftentimes
cool.
about the legal ramifications of it, but
That
we
sounds
don't
cool.
oftentimes talk about the spiritual or the metaphysical aspect. So that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just to add a point to that, which is so important, because you give somebody something to believe in or a way out of the hole that they're in, no matter what it is, right? It's something that is experienced through somebody else. The spiritual part of it is the key, because you could turn, because then somebody knows that there's something else they'll work themselves for it, right? Right now, a lot of it's a myth. That's the thing, you know, on the way with cannabis. So whatever, you know, all the different, because I know that with the concussions and a lot of my guys were in the NHL and stuff, that you know, microdosing with the psilocybins and the lion's mane and are helping reconnect, and all that stuff's doing such a great job. I see that the way that Uncle Stoner sees it in me. I see it in the communication with these guys and their families and stuff like that. So whatever it is, you know, it's sort of helping people find their path, and then supporting it along the way is just as important. I think that that's what you guys here have always done for the cannabis. So whatever journeys there are, it's always interesting. And I'm curious about, I'm going to tune in next week because I'm curious to hear more about the journey of it.
Fantastic. Yep, it's good too. There was a lot of years where people would have experiences but wouldn't be comfortable sharing them, and the fact that we have a couple people here that are willing to open up about that, it's valuable. It really is, and we appreciate it.
Right on. Does anybody else have anything else they would like to add for today? Because we're just about ready to wind down. And I'm really I know we're recording right now, but you know, I'm really happy with this show. A lot of great information, a lot of great discussion.
One thing I would say is kind of like with the psychedelic stuff, Michigan Psychedelic Society and Decrim Nature Ann Arbor, we had a panel discussion over the weekend, and it's on our YouTube page, and you can go check that out. Some really good information on there about how to integrate properly and proper use of psychedelic substances, and also like how to get involved and decriminalize other cities, not only in Michigan, but around the country and around the world. So this movement's just way bigger than us, and but yeah, just like the cannabis movement. So
Absolutely.
reconnecting those pathways that are broken.
Right on.
That's healing our society, reconnecting broken pathways. That's what it is.
DNA Ann Arbor, or DNA Ann Arbor is now turning into Decriminalized Nature Michigan. So the morphine will continue in that forward path.
So he says he's going to legalize morphine too. Nice.
That's not wow.
Drip, 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 baby. Drip me to happy.
No, it is turning into, like, people saw it being done in Ann Arbor, and that inspired groups all over the state. And now you guys are kind of helping them out in turn. And
Yeah, and
more action. Yeah.
there's just like a lot of more groups got like back going when we passed a couple weeks ago. Like now, like Colorado Springs, Colorado, which is kind of a conservative city, I guess they're taking it up. There's like a group in Baltimore and a group in Minneapolis and just a bunch of different ones. Columbus, Ohio.
He was asleep for the whole show, and now at the end, he wants to get all rambunctious.
Right.
Yeah, we're starting to close
Look at
down.
that.
He's like,
He's
hey,
got a whole
wow.
agenda and shit
you know what,
going
though?
on.
No reason why we don't talk about this a little bit more next week also.
It was a really interesting show. There was a lot of guests. I didn't want to interrupt him.
It was fantastic. So
It
give
was,
us,
and-
give us DNA's website so people can get a hold of you folks.
Oh, DNA2.org.
And then there's a YouTube
Wow.
channel too where you can see the
Short
stuff he
and
was
sweet.
talking about. So perfect.
Is that two letter 2 or TWO on that?
A letter, number 2.
Numeral.
Number 2.
Darren, how can people listen to your radio show, and how can they participate in things that you do?
Yes, the radio shows Friday nights, AM 760 WJR from 7 to 8 p.m. But check out at Real Darren McCarty. It's got the blue check mark on Instagram and Facebook. Let's see, Grind Time DMAC 25 on Twitter and DarrenMcCarty.com. So the at Real Darren McCarty will let you know, getting the comedy all back up going and stuff like that. But I will see everybody up at the Botanical Company's anniversary on Saturday. Look forward to it, handing out that check to the minor hockey. It's about giving back to communities, and we, leading by example.
yeah.
So thanks for having me on, guys.
You know it.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Uncle Stoner, Bobby, how can people track you and the things that you're doing in squash offs?
Pretty much Uncle Stoner on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and then Squash Off on Instagram. You can check out all the stuff there on them.
You've heard us mention Medical Mondays a couple times. Medical Mondays is a podcast, takes place 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. I'm also on 420 Post, which broadcasts at 1 p.m. on Wednesdays. And Jamie does the Planet Green Trees radio program at 8 p.m. on Thursdays as well. You'll find the Cannabis Caucus of the Michigan Democratic Party having shows going on Saturdays, typically at 420. You can catch us there as well. Jamie, what else?
There's the Smoke and Rope people can listen to on Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
I was on 2 episodes ago. Rick was on 3 or 4 episodes ago, and Drew Driver is in the most recent. Of course, he has been working on this with us from way back.
Good stuff. Redemption Foundation has just announced a partnership with Last Prisoner Project and Michigan Democratic Party's Cannabis Caucus to help Michael Thompson and some of the other incarcerated persons here in Michigan. Look for more information and news about that coming up as well. But that wraps us up for Jazz Cabbage Cafe for today. I want to thank all of our guests, D-Mac, Uncle Stoner, Jim Salame, of course, Danny Danko, and the rest of us, Colin, Debra, Jamie, and myself. Thanks for viewing.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
See you
now.
guys. Bye.